Okay, so this is a video that I'm gonna speed through. I'm doing an unhaul. I recently moved rooms. Here's my new setup. It may stay like this or I may change it all. And when I was tearing down my bookshelves, moving it all, reorganizing my bookshelves, I decided to get rid of a ton of books that just sit and I've either read and enjoyed, but I don't see myself ever rereading and I just want to make space for other books, or I know I'm not going to read, so I'm getting rid of. I was just going to take all these to the library, but then I remembered that you guys like unhauls, so I guess I will show you the books that I'm going to give to the library. And then tomorrow I will bring it there. But I will be brief because this is a big stack of books and I don't really want to be talking for an hour. Ugh. And I guess I'm gonna put the books right here as I talk about them. I have some Wheel of Time mass market paperbacks. I think I have a few of these, but I was buying them in mass market at my local used bookstore at first, but then Noshi sent me all of these that I just covered up. He sent me all the really nice editions, so those are the ones I'm keeping. The Shining by Stephen King. I didn't enjoy this King. I'm still trying to decide if I like King or not. I seem to really love some of his books and not really like other ones. So there's just no point in keeping books on my shelves that I don't like. These are the little classics that I've had on my bookshelf for a long time, but I already own most of these in other editions and I just don't need a bunch of copies of the same thing and I don't really like those editions that much. What They Always Tell Us, which I gave 4 stars and I really enjoyed and I do recommend. I just know I'm not gonna reread it, so I figure the library could use it better than me. Your Welcome Universe, which I read and enjoyed, but I know I'm not gonna reread, so someone else can read it. Not After Everything. I read it, I enjoyed it, but someone else will like it more at this point. This is the Part Where You Laugh, same story. Dangerous Girls. This was one of my first thrillers and I really enjoyed it even though I totally called the ending. It was still a great twist even though I saw it coming and I liked it a lot. But I have read a lot of thrillers since then and I'm not sure I would love it so much this time if I reread it. And also, do you reread thrillers? Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. Don't hate me. Listen, this duology was solid. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed reading it, but I'm not gonna reread it. So I don't need it on my shelves. YouTubers is just something that was sent to me by a publisher, I think, and I know I'm not gonna read it. Duel of Fire, I just have 2 copies of it. I think my mom bought it too and she gave me her copy, but I don't need it. And this is a self-pub author, so she should be in a library so that more people will read her books and learn about her. The Will of the Wilds, this was also unsolicited from a publisher and I'm just not gonna read it. Ella Enchanted, I bought this a long time ago. I tried to read it, I didn't like it. I'm sorry. I know you guys won't appreciate that at all. Pope Joan, this is a book about the only female pope. And I was really excited to read it because I thought it was nonfiction, but then I learned it was fiction and I'm no longer excited about it. Today We Go Home, another unsolicited book sent by a publisher that I'm just not gonna read. Another Wheel of Time book. 1 in a Million, I got this from a library book sale like forever ago and I'm not gonna read it. Year One was a book that I read and enjoyed. I think I gave it 3 stars, but you know, I usually don't keep 3 stars. I usually just keep books that are 4 or more, unless it's like a really high 3-star. West of Sin, another book sent to me unsolicited, and I mean, there's panties on the back. I know I'm not gonna read it. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. I love the Puff and Chalk editions of classics, but I have a couple copies of Alice in Wonderland and I just don't need a bunch. The Unwilling, which was sent to me by a publisher and actually looks pretty interesting, but not interesting enough that I know I'm gonna get to it anytime soon, which makes me think that I'm never gonna get to it because there are other books that are gonna come in that are gonna interest me, so I'm not gonna read it. Always and Forever, Lara Jean. I did not enjoy that trilogy. I'm sending the first 2 books to my friend, and I told her I would do it months ago, and I still haven't. I should probably be a better friend and do that, because I annotated the first 2 books, and I hated on a certain person throughout the whole thing, and I think that she'll think it's funny, because she also didn't like this trilogy. The Duke and I, which I bought to buddy read with a friend. It's one of her favorites. I gave it 1 star. I hated it. The Will of the Wilds, which I think I just pulled. Yeah, it's right there. And right there. Apparently the publisher sent me 2 copies unsolicited. Another Pretty Guilty Women, another book sent to me unsolicited. I'm not gonna read it. Tessa Dare, another book that I bought to read with a friend and I DNF'd that one. Battle Royale, which I bought because a lot of people talk about how similar this is to the Hunger Games, and some people have even accused the Hunger Games of maybe pulling a little bit too much from it, and I really wanted to read it because I wanted to form my own opinions. I wanted to see the similarities and the not so similarities, but I didn't enjoy reading it, so I didn't read it. And The Time Machine, which was a classic that I read and didn't really enjoy. I don't think I like this author. I've read 3 of his books, and all of them I think that the concepts are really cool, but I never like the execution. So those are all the books going to the library. Now I'm going to show you some books that I'm giving to my niece because she's recently really into reading, and she's in kind of a weird reading age that isn't really taken care of by publishers very well, where she's too old for middle grade, but not old enough where she wants to be reading the older young adult, you know, just the really young adult age. And of course, I'm not trying to put age limits on anybody's reading. I'm just saying that's where she is and that's the kind of content that she wants to read. And she has a hard time finding it. So I've been sending her stuff like the Lunar Chronicles, the Duel of Fire series that I love so much. What else has she read? Ooh, I sent her Skyward, which, I mean, obviously that can be, I love Skyward. Like, I'm talking about books that I love too, but I'm talking about books that I feel like people get so judgy when you talk about age ranges for books. So I'm trying to over-explain it. Whatever. She's at this age and she has a certain kind of book that she wants to read, and I'm trying to help her. So I've been lending her some books that I love, but she doesn't own a bookshelf and she doesn't really own very many books at all. So I want to get her a bookshelf and fill it with some books that are sitting on my shelf because I read them and I enjoyed them, but they're sitting at the bottom of my shelf because I don't read them anymore. So I'm just gonna give them to her. I feel like I'm so bad at unhauls because I just have such mild thoughts about all these books. Anyway, I'm gonna send her the, what's this called? The Legend Trilogy, which I loved these books so much, but I'm not gonna reread them because my reading taste has changed so much and I'm afraid I won't love them as much if I reread them. So I'm just gonna keep my good memories. I have my whole Casey West collection because I used to love Casey West and I just don't anymore, except for On the Fence. That's still one of my all-time favorite books and she can't have it. She can read it, she can borrow it, but it's mine. The Great Hunt and The Great Pursuit, which is another series that I loved so much a few years ago, but I refuse to reread because I remember some very specific details about it and I'm afraid I wouldn't love it anymore, but that's fine. We change as readers. Alyssa will love them. Eliza and Her Monsters, which I loved when reading it, but I'm probably not gonna reread it, and if I will, then I'll borrow it from her. Tell Me 3 Things, which is another little contemporary romance that I loved, but probably not gonna reread. Rebel of the Sands, which I've read twice and really enjoyed. It was great, but I'm not gonna continue on with the series because it wasn't that great. And Alex Approximately, which again, I loved. Alyssa will love it too. I may also give her my selection series, but I kind of want to hang on to it because even though I don't love it anymore, I have so many feelings. So I may just let her borrow those. And she's definitely not ready for the Hunger Games because that girl is sensitive and there are deaths. Which now that I think of it, maybe I shouldn't send her the Legend Trilogy because I loved the ending, but she may not. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of books that I'm getting rid of, not because I hate most of them. Couple of those I hate, but most of them is just because I've either grown out of them, not commenting on anybody else's reading, only on mine. I've either grown out of them or I just don't have any interest in reading them. So there you go. I'm getting rid of all these books. A lot of them are going to the library. Some of them are going to my niece. I don't know why these videos are a thing, but you guys like them, so there's my thoughts.
Let's watch and push. That is emergency.
Good job.